please. Ryan, would you like to lead us tonight, please, sir?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Ryan. Shelley, will you take us through a roll call, please?
Yes. Those present are Mayor Shaw, council members Brian Roth, Tom Arnbrister, Ron Kemp, Dennis McVeigh, staff present, myself, Shelley Roth, Bill Cameron, Jim Gibson, Theron Perry, Matt Russell with the fire department, and Captain Watkins.
And excused tonight is Tammy and Councilwoman Baker.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Shelley. Look for approval agenda, please.
I move to approve the agenda.
Second.
There's a motion and a second to approve the agenda. Any further discussion? Seeing no further discussion, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed 4-0. Thank you, council. I'd now look for the approval of the consent agenda, please.
Move approval of the consent agenda.
Do you have any
You're not gonna read it, or?
any vouchers?
Seconds it. Oh, I second. Oh, okay. Then I have another motion to correct the minutes of the public comment from the last meeting from Trussell to Trussell.
Okay.
And then the motion is to approve September 24, 2024 claim boxes 8272 through 8286 to EFTs in the amount of $15,869.26. September 10th, 2024 meeting minutes and October 8th, 2024 claim vouchers 8294 through
You got it?
8202.
Yeah.
One EFT in the amount of $122,005.99, and the September payroll in the amount of $40,219.40. Second. Which is, been verified by the audit committee.
There's a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda, which includes the meeting minutes correction on a typo error under public comment. Any further discussion? No further discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed 4-0. Thank you, council. We'll now go to public comment. Did anybody sign up? Guys- Okay. We'll now go to staff reports. Jim Gibson, you want to start?
Sure. So a couple small things I just want to update you on. Lately, we've been having some phone calls and some 3-lot subdivisions in town. There's a few small lots that are about an acre and a half that they want to do a 3-lot subdivision on. Current policies allow us to do 2-lot unless you do a nitrate study. These developers are talking to a septic designer and believe they can get that study completed. So we may see a couple short subdivisions come in soon. There was also an inquiry this week on Seattle Street. If you remember the subdivision we approved for the Ohmses on one side of Seattle Street, goes down through there and developing the left-hand side. There was a large piece left on the right-hand side with a house. They reached out to me this week and were interested in possibly subdividing that side so that it would add 4 or 5 additional houses in there if they can get through the nitrate studies. So I do have hope we're going to be meeting with the county soon to talk more about the nitrate studies and the nitrate issues within the county. We are trying to schedule a meeting with them. They've asked for it. I don't know the details on that yet. As soon as I do, I will pass that on to you with that. And we've had quite a few ADU inquiries. We've talked about this in the past. The ADUs is a new state code, allowing ADUs in the backyards. The thing we have to work with is our septic availability. All of our ADUs need to be on private septic systems, which are based on nitrate loadings. We can do some, we cannot do some. But a lot of interest on adding ADUs in the back of the houses. So I'm basically relaying them to the county, go talk to septics before you come talk to us. Our code will allow it, but you need to get the septic system approved prior to, before we take a building permit in, we're asking them to get a septic designed and approved to show that they can serve that type of use. So we've had 3 or 4 in the areas, on Idaho Street, Seattle Street, there's been a couple others that you may see some permits in the future on those. Other than that, it's been pretty quiet. I am working with Wayne's Propane to try to figure out what their business plan is over there. I've asked for some additional information from them. And I don't want to share too much on that. His process, if he doesn't agree with my staff report, will be appealed to this body. So if I offer too much up at this point, I think that would that shoots us in the foot trying to give him the proper appeal that he may need. So, but I am working on it, so if you do have a constituent comes and asks you about it, we are working on it through staff.
Do you have any communication with the potential brewery?
Not recently, not since our conversation. So there, most of you have heard, there's been talk about building a brewery and a tasting facility out here.
That's the flyer that went out.
Went out a few months ago. It's the old garage property down the other side of the mini storage. I did send a long email out to them and advising him that it's great that he has the plan. Again, we're back to septic, we're back to sewer issues. Please meet with the county, discuss with them how they plan to meet those needs. And he did have a designer, he is having those meetings with them to try to facilitate that. Our building codes will allow it, and everything he can do from a building side is a doable. I haven't looked at that, but it's all septic needs that has to be addressed before we get to building permit on that.
Septic along with parking that would tie in with the
Oh.
septic.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, but he has the square footage to make this happen. It's just he has to get the septic approved through the county to allow it to happen. Which gets back to nitrate loading and studies. And a brewery uses is very high level nitrates and suspended solids and such. It's a very expensive system to build. So.
Anything else?
Not at this time.
Okay. And I'm just going to piggyback just so we're, when things go 2 years, sometimes we forget about it. But it was about 2 years ago that we started having this nitrate study, and Jim and I met with the county, and then we came back to the council and we put some money out there. I think this may have been before you came on, Ryan, so trying to bring you up to date, and Aaron. And we spent money and dug those wells, and we did all the tests, and we took it back. Jim took it all back to the county, and then we met with them again. And our last meeting with them, which was probably, I think, 18 months ago, was they were going to look at trying to get us some funding to maybe help move through with the sewer.
Start the studies. Yes.
Start the studies. Well, then, at that time, Chavez was still working with the commissioners. He's since then left. Sounds like 3 other people that met with us are not there now. So now they're reaching out to us again to start the process again. That's where it is. So when Jim comes back with feedback, hopefully at the next meeting, to kind of remember that this is a whole process that started back, and we showed him that we didn't think our nitrate level was bad, and the ball was dropped. We moved on, and now they're wanting to revisit it. So that basically what happened?
I think that in a nutshell.
Okay.
Great.
Thank you, Jim. Matt, you got anything from the fire department?
Just some data. So, just kind of how the last few months have gone. So, inside the city of Rainier itself, so that's what you guys care about the most. It's been about 23 to 30 calls a month over the summer. Year to date, inside the city of Rainier, it's 194 calls. Engine 24, which is here in Rainier, down to 901 calls, in we call it the greater Rainier area, right? So the city of Rainier and then the surrounding stuff where a lot of our citizen people live. Total calls so far for the engine here in Rainier this year has been 1,204 calls so far. That's quite a bit of a jump from last year. So I've got 4 fire inspections I'm following up on. I give people time to get their things fixed, and then I'm working on 2 different fire investigations at the moment.
Thank you. Any questions for Matt?
Are those primarily aid calls or fire calls?
The vast majority are medical calls. Yeah, we run about 75% medical calls, 25% on fire calls. And a fire call can be, this code is basically anything that's not a medical call, right? So it's not even just a fire. It can be a good intent. Somebody's stuck on the playground toys, or things like that. Service calls. There aren't fires, but they're not medical. So just getting busier though.
Okay, any other questions for Matt? Thank you. I'm gonna come back. Captain, I skipped you.
So since last month, one of the things that we noticed last month when we gave out our report was that we had just a little bit of an uptick in collisions within the city. That prompted us to make our patrol folks aware of that and request to do some additional traffic enforcement. And that paid off. Between last month and this month, we went up considerably in traffic enforcement within the city. And some of it is enforcement, but even on top of the enforcement piece, there was numerous other traffic stops that were done where we didn't write any tickets or anything like that, gave warnings, that sort of thing. So, and lo and behold, collisions, dropped by 1, which wasn't a big drop, but it dropped. We also had, and I kind of stated this before to council, we had more calls in reference to suspicious persons or suspicious circumstances. Those I view, in law enforcement circles, we view it are good things. That means citizens are seeing something that doesn't look right to them and they're calling us. Because if you don't call, we don't even know it's a problem or an issue. So when I see that kind of, those kind of numbers, and again, it was up from the previous month, that's a good thing. We were up total calls for service. We were up 44 calls for service higher in this last month than the month before. So that's a pretty significant increase, to be honest. But again, most of it I think is pretty positive because of the types of calls and of the extra traffic enforcement. So our staffing is improving. We've hired a significant amount of people. Right now, the challenge is getting the training done for all people. When you hire an entry-level deputy, by the time we get them into the academy, through the academy, get them through the field training program, and then get them out on the road on solo patrol, that process is about 10 months, give or take. We've hired several lateral candidates. They are already experienced police officers that have already been to the academy, and we're hiring them from another agency. And their field training program is more like 6 weeks, and they're on solo patrol. So, so we have a lot in the hopper right now. We're stretched very thin on our field training officers, and so they're basically taking one after another, and we're not giving them any breaks, which can kind of burn out your field training officers. So we're actually slightly slowing down the training process a little bit to afford a little bit of a break in there, even if it's only a week, to our training officers, just to keep them from having burnout. So it's a good problem to have when you have that many people hired and in the hopper and being trained. All of our general fund positions are currently filled. We are now working on filling the new public safety sales tax positions. So for this year,
we have 9 to fill. And then, of course, there's always retirement here or retirement there, or somebody leaves to go to another agency. That happens. I think between right now and the end of the year, we have a total of 11 positions that we have to fill. And then, but the good news is right now we have 8 conditional offers out there for, 8 of those 11 spots, as long as they pass all of the testing that's remaining. So, again, we're sitting in pretty good shape as far as that goes. Sheriff Sanders is very, aggressive at our hiring. We have 15 background investigators. They're all extra hire employees, and they're churning through backgrounds quickly and very methodically, not only for the road but also for the corrections side of our agency. We have like 21 openings on the corrections side, and that's again just there's less interest in being involved in law enforcement or corrections than we have seen. Probably within the last 5 years, that interest has dropped. We're starting to see maybe a little bit of an increase in that. So maybe we've turned the corner on that because we have noticed that our numbers of people testing and putting our agency down have increased. So again, it's a good thing, and I think we're trending at least in the right direction right now. So I would say 6 months from now, we'll have, if everything goes well, we could have an additional 12, 13 patrol deputies physically working the road, which is a pretty good thing. We're down to just 2 out on injury status, and that's again, like to have 0, but it's better than the 6 we were down. So I'll take the 2.
Great, thank you for the detailed report. Any questions?
The suspicious activity, is there a common area where you're seeing those calls at?
No, I'm glad you asked that, because when I saw the numbers, we went back and we kind of drilled into it a little bit. It wasn't. I mean, there was 3 of those were right out here on 507, but I mean that's where there's more congregation. But no specific neighborhood or anything like that.
Thank you, good question, Ryan. Anything else? Okay. Theron.
Okay, since the last council meeting, we have done 17 utility locates, which is down a little bit from the month before. 8 animal control calls, which is down a little bit. We continue every day. We do routine checks, the well sites, the parks, the streets. That's a given. Paul is finishing up, pretty much getting the tail end of his mowing, and so he's going to be shifting his focus more towards cleaning up and pruning. We spoke with the mayor today about some of the projects he'd like to see for the trees limbed up and some cleanup. We had 2 of our utility trailers went down, so we did the repair on those. It's time for some annual maintenance, so we did all 4 of our roadworthy vehicles, got those all tuned up with oil changes and stuff. We had our generator needed some repair parts, so we worked on that. We had our sanitary survey with the Department of Health last year. They wanted some photographs from the water towers, and we were able to clean that up and get those done. And then I spent 3 days in Vancouver doing prep for my water distribution manager level 2 exam. Did that Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday of last week. Took the test on Friday and passed. So I'm certified now to run the water system, which was part of the plan. Thank you. It was part of the plan before Ron left, because you have to have a level 2 certification to run this. So now I'm freed up to follow Ron around, hopefully for the next 2.5 months, really intently, and get everything I need from him.
Thank you, Theron.
Thank you.
Any questions? And like he said, he passed the test, got a good test score, and we are happy that he doesn't have to take it again.
I bet he is too.
Yeah, if we did it early enough in case, I could have taken it again, but the study was enough that I'm glad it took.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Dennis?
Two questions first. Would you please introduce yourself? I always like to know who's here.
Sure. My name is Madison. I moved here in May with my partner Aspen. We came from a brief stint in Portland, and before that Spokane, and before that we lived in Olympia. We bought the home on Valesky Drive, the 4481. How long was that? It was like 6 months vacant.
Yes, the house right next to the park there. Yeah, so we've been in there for a couple months now, and we figured we'd pop in and see what this is about.
Well, good, welcome to town.
Thank
Glad to have you. Then the second question, is there an update on our bathrooms?
Last I heard from Ron, they're supposed to have something by the end of the week. There's still issues with the toilets flushing. They were hoping for at least a conditional use permit by the end of the week, but they're, for whatever reason, they can't get the toilets to flush. And it has to be something on their end with the plumbing, because we've done pressure testing. I mean, we're not, we didn't change anything, so.
Yeah, the old bathroom worked fine.
Yeah, and I haven't physically been in there, but Ron says it takes like 30 seconds holding the handle down and it just won't flush
He
anything.
showed me.
Yeah, so that last I heard from him, I asked him yesterday, was we're hoping for something by the end of the week. I know the guy was down there yesterday and part of today, so.
And like we talked about at the retreat, and I've talked with Ron, is, you know, as soon as we sign off, and, you know, the problem about getting a conditional one is, you know, our agreement with Thurston County is, once it's done, it's our responsibility. And if there's a problem, if it's not flushing like that, like we said at the retreat, you know, if there's a kinked pipe underground that they collapsed, that's not an easy fix. So I think we still need to be with where you guys all were at our retreat, that we need to make sure it's working before we do.
No, I agree, 100%.
In
Okay.
perfect world, we'd like it 100% before we take ownership.
Exactly.
Yeah, people have been asking me.
Yeah.
So anyway, my report. I attended TRPC last Friday. Two things, they're working on their updating the bylaws, which includes looking at increasing our fees across the board for members by about 14%. Based on population, hasn't been done in several years, and it's probably time. The thing that's good for us is our paint striping project is one that was submitted for funding, and we're hoping that will come through and restripe the city. Other than that, that's all I have.
Any questions for Dennis? Thank you, Dennis. Ron?
Transportation Policy Board tomorrow, other than that, nothing to report.
Thank you. Any questions for Ron? Thank you. Tom?
Just an update on our Thurston County Emergency Management meeting last month. What we'd like to do is Thurston County would like to come down and join us for our biannual meeting for emergency preparedness for winter coming on. And I'm planning on trying to get that going towards the end of the month. Everybody's schedule's just been so messed up, so. And the other thing was that we were going to put in the bills, the water bills, preparedness slips with emergency phone numbers and all that type of stuff on it, for our new people that are coming down.
Excellent.
And I'm working with Thurston County to get that done. And they've been behind a little bit, so I'll be slamming on them in the next few days. So we'll be able to get it over, and hopefully we can get it approved to council before we send it out. And there's still a lot of grant money available for emergency emergency management type stuff. So, Bernard and I had talked a little bit about getting a list together of stuff we think we might need. And so hopefully the next week or so we'll be able to get that done. And I'll send out an email to everybody about when we're going to do the emergency management meeting. So they get clarification from Thursday County. So, other than that, that's about all I got.
Thank you. Tom, any questions for Tom? Ryan?
Nothing super new. I just want to talk stormwater and gas quality rules right now, but a lot of good hits on the golf course. Still, I have a lot of my employees work out here still. They live out here, so they've been there every night. There's a lot of questions asking about how to hold events there during the summertime and different things like that. So it's been kind of cool to hear.
Good.
It's always busy.
Thank you. And we did talk about all your topics you gave us for the retreat. I don't have exactly my notes back from there, but council would say everything, we did talk about those things. One of the ones about the property, you know, that's county property, Schonbrockers, that you talked about. And there was some discussion on the frisbee golf and disco golf and stuff like that, and it's just stuff that way you come back up in the future. But we did talk about it.
Yep.
Any questions for Ryan? Thank you, Ryan. Bill, Marine's gone, so we're skipping to you.
Really?
Yeah, your turn.
Okay, well, the 20th is Charles Ives' 150th birthday. That's important, and of course the 23rd small day. And I went to the Wazama convention last month, and boy, I tell you, we got a lot.
Oh, good.
Okay, so that's all the news I've got.
Any questions for Bill? Shelley? You have anything?
I do not.
Okay. I guess we'll come. Any questions for Shelley? We just are thank you that you're here tonight.
Thank you.
I'm sorry that I'm 6 minutes late from when I said you'd be out here.
That's
So,
okay.
seems like I've got quite a few things here. A lot of them come up, and that we just don't put them on the agenda. Quick stuff first. Remember, November we have 2 meetings. So, first, and second, and fourth Tuesday, Ryan. That's because of budget season. So that's a change that we talked. Also, not a change, but we always meet twice because we have to do budget hearings. As Tammy had mentioned, we're starting the preliminary part of the budget or audit. She's been very busy dealing with the audit. They do a lot of preliminary questions. I had my interview with them last Friday. Just trying to figure out if Tammy's telling them what we're doing on, do I know what's going on in the city? We also had a council member do it, and Tammy and I picked Dennis because he does a lot of, reads all of our budget stuff here and our agenda stuff. He had his interview yesterday, and so I think mine went well. Tammy told me yours went well. So all that preliminary stuff's been done, and now we'll just wait to see what they come up with. So that's always a stress for Tammy, but she's doing a great job with it. And I actually liked the lady and how she questioned me.
Yeah, was it the young lady?
Yeah, same. She has to do all this, the same person.
Yeah, very
Took
good.
it.
Good questions.
Yeah. And just basic questions that, do we have multiple people that go through our before checks are paid, and what's the proper avenue? And it goes to Tammy, it goes to the audit committee, it comes back to Shelley, or starts at Shelley. So everything, I think we're clean and we have a good track record.
She wanted to know, did we trust our staff? I had to think about that.
I said, be nice. Got to be nice tonight, Dennis.
No, she did very good questions.
Yeah. you know, Ryan brought up the pickleball court. You guys, I can't thank you enough. I know that was my thing, but you guys supported it all along. It's getting so much use. Saturday night, 8:30 at night. I mean, Saturday, I went through town. I texted Tammy at like 5:30, and I said, all 4 pickleball courts are full. Both ends of the basketball court had kids playing. Okay, I came back through at 8:30. Nice Saturday night. It was beautiful. We had 3 courts of pickleball playing under the lights. Sunday night, I had a meeting in Lacey. I came back home at 8 o'clock. Again, dark. 2 courts of pickleball were being played. You know, the lights look beautiful. I mean, we're getting great comments on that, but just so many people, you know, I know a lot of you drive by regularly, but not as much as some I do, and it's just been amazing. So again, one last thank you. And like Tammy and I were talking about, the original bid coming in high turned out to be the best thing for us. The original plan was 2 pickleball courts and a tennis court, but the bid came in high. We revisited it, times had changed, and we changed it to 4 pickleball courts. It really didn't save us any money, but yeah, pickleball is the in thing right now.
Adoption and usage. I mean, it seems like every night, and being right next to it, we can see there's always something going on over there.
Yeah.
So it's awesome.
Yeah.
I especially enjoy seeing the families, not just adults, but people there with their kids.
Oh, yeah. And it's different age groups. You know,
Yeah.
Tammy said, she texted me back and said Saturday afternoon there were teenagers playing. You know,
There
I
was
mean,
a guy there Saturday afternoon teaching
yeah,
teenagers.
yeah. So
My senior goes there every day.
it's good. So again, it's just being great, and we're on schedule to get the parking lot done. You know, it sounds like you guys live over there and keep an eye on it. That parking lot, that gravel parking lot will be paved here in the next month. It will be fenced. It'll have a 6-foot walkway up to the trail, but that'll all be a true parking lot like we have over here. So, I have my Thurston County Mayor's meeting this Friday. We're meeting at Yelm. We interviewed today, Theron and I and Tammy and Paul. I had Paul sit in it. We interviewed for the Public Works position that we're replacing Ron, even though Theron's moving up. You guys know that, but we will have an open spot. We interviewed candidates today. We've come up with a candidate that I will be reaching out and checking references and probably offering a job to here by the end of the week. And so at the next meeting, we'll have more to tell you on that. But we're looking forward to that. We had good interviews today. We had multiple candidates that were pretty darn good. Would you agree, Theron?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it was good. Code enforcement. We've been notified that Tenino is pulling out of our interlocal agreement to have Rainey as our code enforcement officer. They're actually, he's looking for other work now. City staff would like, we think that we still need to have a code enforcement officer. Tammy talked to Brian. Brian got word of it. Brian's our building official now. Pretty much just taking over for LG. He is certified or registered, or what is it you have to be? He has a certification. I'm writing down, talking for Tammy. Tammy and I talked as she was driving to her conference today. We would like to proceed on and see if we can work out an agreement with Brian. But we think that you as a council were the ones that wanted us to have a code enforcement officer. We think Rainey and Bill have got a lot of things done in the last year. Yeah. And so I guess
Just don't want finesse that we.
Yeah. So I guess I'm just looking for head bobs that Tammy and I can work on. I told her that I'd bring it up. So come next Monday, Tuesday when she gets back, we'll talk with Brian and see if we can get an agreement worked up before our next meeting. You're thinking, Ryan.
Yeah, I'm always thinking. Yeah.
With that said, Rainier the contract ends end of the month, so he's going to wrap up the things that he's been working on. The other one I want to revisit now because I think this is important. The property over here with the fence that you as a council decided that we need to cut the fence down. They didn't appeal, or the landowner at that time came and spoke to the council, but I just want to make sure that we were all on the same page at that time that that fence was to be cut back down to the limited feet, which was 3.5 feet or 3 feet. Whatever. 4 foot.
4, I think, yeah.
Are we still on that? It was put to the back burner because the property owner had passed away. You guys know what property I'm talking about, right? Dennis, you with me?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Well, now that property has legally been identified of who owns the property. And it's now in a new name, which is the person that was living there. So now we're going to have to restart the process and let that new title holder know that they're in violation. So that would be something that we would start with the new code enforcement officer, and I'm going to have Rainey we just got notification of who the property owner is now. And instead of having Rainey deal with that and then be gone after, you get 30 days to get your notice in. So are we still wanting to proceed with that piece of property now that we know who the property owner is? Yes?
Yep.
Dennis?
I'm really ambivalent about that whole deal, especially since the fence right next to it is the same height as the one we're asking him to cut down. But our code says it needs to be cut down.
And I personally think that it would be good to have it down. Drive by there a little bit here. And I'll leave it at that for right now.
Yeah, I noticed they're doing stuff behind the big fence.
And there's more to it that we can talk about on a separate note. Okay, so that we will deal with.
Before we get away from code enforcement, has Rainey moved on the Dollar General store replacing the trees?
Let me write that note down. I will check. I just know that Tammy and my dialogue here today and yesterday was that we would have Rainey finish up the projects that he was already involved in. Do you know? Does that one ring a bell to you?
No, I don't think so.
So we'll check with Tammy when she gets back.
Yeah, I know that he's been working on it for a long time. They've kind of blown us off.
Yeah. Okay. If not, then that will be a new one we'll put. But I can just pass on what I said, Dennis, is that he's going to clean up the active ones, and then we'll start at least the first one being the fence over here, and that will be another one. Okay.
Just can I offer one piece on the Dollar General?
Yeah.
The original developers don't own it anymore. They develop them and then they sell them to local entities.
Yeah.
So the new buyer that has it wouldn't be aware of any of the requirements that we put out on that project. So some education and letters probably go a long way in educating them on what they purchased without realizing the stipulations came with it.
Yeah. Seems a shame. Those trees would really make that property look much nicer if they were alive.
For sure.
Okay. And the last thing, I just want to. Okay, we talked at the retreat about the trestle. He came to that council meeting beforehand. We put it on the retreat. We've had some information going back and forth. I think Tammy was doing a good job with it. I don't know if they were real satisfied with it, so I told her to punt it to me. and basically told them the same thing that Tammy had told them, and we'll see where it is. But I just want to make sure, from what we talked about at the retreat was, and after you were here when he came to the meeting, right? That the council's belief is we're fine with the yield signs. We believe that stop signs would not change. It's not a stop issue. We haven't had accidents. But basically, we're fine with keeping it as yield signs. And is that still where we are? Dennis?
Yeah.
Ron?
Yes.
Tom?
Yep.
Okay. 'Cause I'm gonna,
I would like to see us pursue getting one of those flashing
Can I
signs
finish?
like they have.
I will finish. Okay. I just need to know that because I will go to battle, but I want to make sure I have, and I'm speaking for the council when I'm telling them what we're doing. So, basically, we have told them what we are, as the city is doing, which is we're buying, we've had Theron order them yesterday. We're ordering 3 blinking lights, single blinking lights, so you know, that you guys talked about at the retreat, like Highway 99. And we will, as soon as they get them here, I've assured the railroad that we will get them installed right away. We're going to put one over here on the 12-foot 2 sign or 14-2 sign by the parking lot. We're going to put the other one up by Connie's daycare, because we can do those type of things on signs that are in our city limits because they're on our city streets. So that's what we're going to do. If anybody reaches out to you, that's what we're doing. We're not going to change the yield signs to stop signs, and that's what we're saying. Then to get the 3rd blinking light up on the county, we would like to do it up above 133rd, where the sign says alternate truck route, which is what they have on Highway 99. Tammy's already filled out the application for that. That has to go to the county, and we have paperwork to do before we can put a sign up there. But we're going to be prepared that hopefully that will get taken care of, and we will get that done. But what the city has control of is what we can do, and that's what we've told the railroad, and then the owner of the railroad has now got back involved, and that's now where I'm involved. So that's where we stand right now. But that's what we're doing to deal with the issue, is putting up the blinking lights to give notification that there's a trestle thing. So we all okay with that? Sounds good. Did I miss anything?
I don't
that
think
you
so.
heard Tammy and I talking about at all? Okay. Okay, I'm done. Thank you for being patient. We'll go to new business. We'll go to old business. Ryan, what do you want to do now?
What do I want to do now?
I'm going to let you talk because those guys always jump the gun here. So we're down to that last one. Make a motion for me.
I'm done. I'm good.
So a motion
Motion
to.
adjourned.
Thank you. There's a motion and a second to adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. Thank you very much, council. Thank you, Ryan. I won't catch you off guard.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it.